Hey guys, how's it going? So another video in this series of what to practice. So I was discussing about intervals on the 6th and the 5th string, what they look like in terms of major and then minor intervals. So there's a major third, semitone apart, root note on the 6th string, it's G, and then the 5th string B. Then we can lower that B to B flat and make it into a minor interval. And we talked about the major third on the 6th string rather than on the 5th string. So it's the B on the 7th fret, so G being the root, B being the 7th fret, and there's 5 frets in between them, or you could think of it as 2 tones. And if we look at the distance or the relationship or the interval between the 3rd on the 6th string and the 5th on the 6th string, you can see there it's a tone. So it's not the major third, it's a minor third. So that proves to us that there's a stacking of major and minor thirds that create the chord tones. So if we now think about the relationship between the 5th and the major 7th, which is F sharp on the 4th string, you can see that between the 5th and the 7th note, it's a major third. So with the first chord in the chord of G major, which is G major 7, we've got a major third between the root and the 3rd, a minor third between the between the 3rd and the 5th, and then a major third again between the 5th and the 7th note. And then the 7th is just a semitone below the root. So that gives us something visually that we can look at in terms of trying to work out the intervals when we're looking at an arpeggio or looking at creating a chord. Now if we move over to the root note now, G on the 4th string, which is the 5th fret, and we look at the 3rd on the next string, on the 3rd string, so the distance or the relationship between the root and the 3rd, again it's a semitone that we can see the interval on the adjacent string, it's a semitone apart, and again if I was to lower that, it becomes a minor third, so major third. Now the only problem when we're going across the strings and we get to the 2nd string, we have to remember that the 2nd string is tuned a semitone higher than all the other strings. And when we look at the next interval, which would be a minor third, usually if we go from that third, the major third on the 3rd string 4th fret, it would be on, with our index finger, it would be a tone apart. But as you can see here, that's not right. It's because it should be a semitone. Usually, because that string's tuned one step higher, that minor interval now becomes what looks like the major third. So it's something to think about. So when we look at the intervals from the 4th string to the 3rd string, that follows the same idea, that it looks like the same as the major third on the 6th and the 5th string, but the minor third interval now on the 3rd, between the 3rd and the 5th, is actually looking like a major third. But just have to remember that in this setting, in this instance, the 2nd string's tuned a semitone higher, so we end up with a interval that looks like this. And then again, going from the 5th to the 7th, we'll have a major third again. So the minor third is the thing to look out for when we move to the 4th string, the 3rd string and the 2nd string. So it's got a funky, rather than looking like this, you've got to move it up a semitone. So we were talking about in the last video, looking at the arpeggios now, starting from our 4th string and moving across to the 1st string. So just now I'm going to outline this G major 7 chord. So it's the 4th string 5th fret, then we got the semitone, what it looks like a semitone distance between the root and the 3rd, and then we'll have another semitone distance between the 3rd and the 5th, which is a minor interval, a minor third, and then moving to the 5th and the 7th, we've got the major third again. Major third, minor third, major third, and then the 7th note is just a semitone below the root. So if I outline this chord now, starting from the 4th string, we have, I'll use my pinky for this because I'm going to play it sort of across 4 frets. So it's the 4th string 5th fret, the 3rd string on the 4th fret, the 2nd string 3rd fret, the 1st string 2nd fret, and then the root note on the 1st string 3rd fret. So once you can do that, you might want to put all of the other notes from the 5th, the 6th, the 5th, the 4th strings together and play the entire arpeggio. 6th string 3rd fret, I'll put the 3rd on the 5th string, 2nd fret, the 5th is on the 5th string 5th fret, 7th is on the 4th string 4th fret, then back to the root note again on the 4th string 5th fret, moving across to the 3rd string for the 3rd, and that's the major 3rd on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, the 5th is on the 2nd string 3rd fret, the 7th on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and then the root again. So what you want to try now is to make sure you can play that arpeggio, the major 7 arpeggio, nice and smoothly all the way through. And again, use crotchets, quavers, semi-quavers with a metronome. 1 and 2, 1, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 1, 3 and 4 and 1, alternating strokes as well. The next little video will be about the minor intervals and how we can create a minor arpeggio.